What is going on, YouTubeverse? John Stanek from Johnny Radio here, bringing you another top 5. And guys, I've been waiting a long time to be doing this one. My top 5 favorite Bob Dylan albums, which it's the perfect time to do it. This week marks the 60th anniversary of the 1965 classic, Bringing It All Back Home. Later this year, of course, there will be another anniversary of Highway 61 Revisited. And Robert Zimmerman's been in the news quite a bit this past year for the film A Complete Unknown, of course, kind of talking about that classic period. We'll see if some of those make my top 5, so let's get right into it at number 5.
I'm walking.
Time Out of Mind, the Grammy Award-winning album from 1997, which was just an amazing comeback record. He had a string of just bad albums from the late 80s to the early 90s, was almost going to quit music altogether, but thank God he didn't, and chose to work with the master producer Daniel Lanois and really just kind of go into, embrace the darkness on songs like Not Dark Yet and Lovesick. And it's just, you know, he really kind of also embraces this newfound vocal vulnerability. Not that he was like ever a great singer, but his voice got raspier and lower, and in that lower register it really works perfectly with these kind of songs. Also, there's enough upbeat material like Dirt Road Blues and Cold Iron's Bound to keep it interesting. I just love it. I revisit it all the time, and that is just my number 5. So now at number 4, Desire from 1976, the epic follow-up to Blood on the Tracks, which is also a great record, but unfortunately did not make my top 5. But man, out of this mid-70s period, Bob was just on a roll, and especially the opening track, Hurricane, which if you've seen the film Hurricane, you know it's a true story, and it's just a heartbreaking one. But man, how he sheds a light on this story is just fantastic. The music is great throughout the record. You know, all the instrumentation, which adding some violin on a lot of these songs, and Emmylou Harris on background vocals just adds to the eclectic sound of this thing. Songs like Isis and One More Cup of Coffee. I just love every track, and this one is kind of an upbeat record, as opposed to, Time Out of Mind, but it's just totally different and shows you that Bob has always been a chameleon through all the decades, but the 70s was one of his best for sure. So that's my number 4, and now at number 3,
John is in the basement mixing up the medicine. I'm on the pavement thinking about the gut.
Bringing It All Back Home. Yes, the 60th anniversary of this classic. It never gets old. Just starting from the opening track, Subterranean Homesick Blues, which still is one of my favorite tracks of Dylan of all time. Just amazing wordplay in this thing, and you know, coming in at under 3 minutes, it's one you just want to go back to over and over again. Plus, this is technically the album that he went electric on first. You know, most people think of Highway 61, but no, this is the first one. You've also got Maggie's Farm on here. Great ballads like Love Minus Zero, No Limit. Of course, the epic closing track, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. And just so many, there is not a weak track on this album. And to think that he made just 2 amazing records in the same year, unbelievable. And that is just my number 3. So now at number 2, Love and Theft from 2001. You know, this is the album that really, I had always enjoyed Bob Dylan in bits and pieces. I had never been a huge fan, but when this came out, I was just so amazed by not only his ability to continue writing these amazing songs, and these songs are really kind of like paying tribute to the early half of the 20th century, which is so cool, but also he produced this album under the moniker Jack Frost. And, you know, just amazing that this guy this far into his career is putting out material at this high of a caliber And I'm telling you, man, this is like almost my number one favorite because just every single song on here, from Tweedledee and Tweedledum all the way through the end, you know, Lonesome Day Blues, High Water, Mississippi, Summer Days. It's just so many fun tracks on here. And Dylan, you can tell he was really having fun. I saw him on this tour. The band was just incredible, rocking all the way. I think he'll never quite reach this height again, unfortunately. But man, what an album. That's just my number two. So now at number one. Highway 61 Revisited, of course, you gotta have this at your number one spot. Just an amazing record. I mean, of course, everyone loves Like a Rolling Stone, but then every other song is just classic after classic, with Tombstone Blues and Ballad of a Thin Man and From a Buick 6, just such a fun song. Even, you know, Queen Jane, a song that I wasn't crazy about initially. It's one of those songs you hear it enough times, you really start to love it, and kind of the lo-fi. This was, like, to me, almost like the first garage rock album. And you know, because the production isn't always great on every song, but it just rocks, man. And Mike Bloomfield on guitar throughout this record is just phenomenal. The band that he assembled, and of course, ending it with Desolation Row. I mean, this was Bob Dylan at his peak, and I mean, that's saying something, because obviously decade after decade, I talked about the 2000s, the 90s, the 70s, the 60s. I even think some of his early 80s output was great. And, you know, he continues to put out great quality stuff when he wants to. And yeah, man, that's my top five. So let me know in the comments below what you think. What would your top five be? Of course, you know, Blonde on Blonde is one that comes close to my top five. Didn't quite make it. I also, you know, alluded to Blood on the Tracks. Of course, the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, all those would make my top 10, but for my top five, I had to just cut it down to my personal favorites. But guys, that is it, and we got more top fives coming, more big countdowns, more album reviews. Thank you so much for watching, and as always,